Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This week we are going to do some improvements for fish habitat at the lake, and we've got a little bit of work that we have to do on one of the outbuildings at the cabin. And then I just wanted to answer a quick question. Lately I've been getting a lot of people that ask how come I don't take contributions and stuff like that. And finally, it's always been complicated and I wanted to keep this fun, but YouTube has finally added a way where if you do want to donate to the channel, you can relatively simply. And that is down by where they have the thumbs up, thumbs down button. If you scroll over to, I think it's the right hand side, there's a super like button. I believe it's a heart with a $sign in it. If you do want to contribute to the channel, I'm not going to push for it, but that's how you do it. You hit that super like button and it'll ask you what type of donation you want to make to the channel. So, all right, with that being said, I'm gonna quick jump in the car and we're gonna head up to the cabin. We got lots of work that needs to be done and I'm excited to get up there because this week we have no rain in the forecast. So, all right, let's head up there. If you guys can think back a little bit to last fall, a company called HISEA sent me some muck boots to try out. Well, they've outdone themselves this time. They sent me these chest waders to help with the lake project. I'm going to include a link to their company in the video description, and let's give these things a try out and see how effective they are. I have a sensitive shoulder because I had some cancer stuff removed out of my shoulder, so I was a little bit concerned about how it would feel going over the shoulders. The shoulders feels good, and it looks like they gave me a bag of goodies inside these chest waders. Extra straps. That's cool. That I can use. Waterproof cell phone case came with it. And yeah, I'll have to check out and see what those straps are all for later on, but my main concern is I want to see how well their chest waders are put together, and I got to get these chores done today. So let's get in the water and see what we got. All right, if you look in the water, and hopefully this glare doesn't come through, but I have got a bunch of submerged trees right off my pier, and some of them have been here for a while, some of them not so long. But this is going to be my venture today. I'm going to go ahead and try to clean this up. I'd like to stack it in a little area so that the fish still have some habitat. There's a big birch that's submerged out there. Yeah, we definitely want to leave some habitat here for the fish, but I need my habitat too. So let's get at her. This is a huge one. Nice and clean. Chest waders are working great. I appreciate it. If that isn't some great habitat for some small minnows, I don't know what is. All right, feels good to have that all cleaned up on the shore there. It makes it a little bit easier for when we go swimming and you don't have all them sharp sticks around, and then it also helps that fish habitat, so I'm pretty thrilled with that. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's weird, this air is so warm, but the lake is still really cool. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm thinking it's probably because we had such a late winter. But yeah, HISEA Outdoors. I'm pretty happy with the chest waders. They're pretty durable. I had a lot of wood, a lot of brushing up against them, and everything still had perfect seal on it. It kept me warm. They've got extra pockets in the front for ammunition. They've got this main pocket where you can put your cell phone or duck calls or anything that you're using. If you're using them for fishing, you could put little extra lures in there. So I'm pretty happy. They build a really good product. Seams are all pretty tightly constructed. I went ahead and inspected all the seams to make sure that everything was where it should be. And yeah, it looks like it's pretty decent quality. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to this product. I'd like to thank HISEA for helping sponsor the show. If you guys are in the market for chest waders, whether it be for fishing or for hunting, I'd strongly recommend these. Check out the link, and it'll be down in the video description. And if you're interested, support them. It'd be great. So appreciate it, HISEA. And let's get back to some work at the cabin. I had a lot of people tell me I was crazy when I built this, that I should put the vent in right away. The only reason I'm installing this vent, the way that I constructed it, it's very clean smelling. There's no issues with the smell or odor. The only issue, now that I've had it for a little while, is during the winter months, I get a ton of ice that hangs off the bottom of the toilet seat. This is the first time that I've ever had the seat freeze up. Everything else in the outhouse is dry and looks decent, but the seat gets really heavy with ice. And for a while there, what I would do is I would just leave the toilet seat up, and I'd leave an old piece of plywood over the hole. And that's how I dealt with it this last winter. I'm hoping if I can get some air circulation and some air movement in there, that the venting will resolve any issues with that condensation that we have underneath there. That goes ahead and freezes up the toilet seat. I knew I'd have a little bit of problem with it because when I dug up the hole, I constantly had water pouring in the hole. At first I thought it was maybe from the roots of the trees, because I am in a close proximity of darn mosquitoes, of a bunch of trees here. And so I did notice some water dripping off the roots, but then it continued in the winter months, which didn't make any sense to me because I thought the trees were somewhat dormant in the winter. So we're going to go ahead and put in this vent. I'll show you how I'm doing it, and hopefully this resolves any of those issues. All right, so this is how I figure it will be the best, easiest way to go about it. I want this vent to kind of be out of the way of everybody and everything. So what I'm doing is just placing a 3" 90 in, because I want this 90 to be as tight as can be up there, and I want this whole installation to be tight. I'm not going to add any hangers. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use glued joints to hold this all into position. So I got the 90 exactly tight against the wall and tight against the bottom, and I'm going to take my little Allen wrench here and mark the 90 all the way around. And then that gives me an idea where it's going to be. Right in the center is where I'm going to go ahead and drill my hole. And then we are good to start doing the installation process, and I'll walk you through that as well. Okay, I've got a hole saw for a 3" hole. I'm going to have the vent go out the side rather than the roof, and that's because I don't have a roof flashing. Nobody makes a roof flashing to go through this clear poly roof. So we'll go ahead and we'll drill it right here. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to glue a short piece of pipe on to a coupling. And the coupling is a little bit thicker in diameter than regular PVC pipe is. So this is going to be the reason why we don't need to add any hangers or supports, because when I stick this through the hole that I drilled in the toilet seat, it'll hit up against the bottom of the coupling and it'll hold everything into position and keep it from moving around. And so this piece that you can see right here, that'll be actually going into the opening underneath the toilet seat, and that should create a vacuum and hopefully suck all those vapors out. So we got that on there, and then we're going to do the same thing with this 90. I've got a short piece of pipe, and this will go out the sidewall of the cabin, and when the two pieces of PVC or when the two fittings, the two PVC 90s are glued on, that'll keep it from wiggling back and forth on that outside wall. And if you're not following what I'm saying, just be patient and watch. I'll explain it again when we actually get to that point where we're gluing that together. So I'm just kind of doing this preliminary, you know what, I'm doing this prior, I can't talk today, just to kind of get prepared for the work ahead of us. And I hate gluing inside of an enclosed area because these vapors will get you a little goofy. So there you go. That part is glued in, and this part's all glued in. We'll give it a second to set up, and then we'll start assembling everything. Okay, so remember I was telling you there was a reason for this little piece here. When you stick that short piece of pipe inside the seat, now you can see this is going to be holding that completely still. And then this will be where the 90 will go through. I don't know if that's on the camera right now, if you can see it on the screen, but that little piece fits in there. And then I'll have my wife hold this, and then I'll glue the 90 in from the other side, and we'll be just fine. Now the measurement that's between these 2 points, I've already measured. That's 43¼ inches long. So I've gone ahead and pre-cut a piece of PVC that's 43¼ inches long. Let's go ahead and we'll start gluing this inside part together. All right, so for those of you that don't know much about plumbing, the reason I got 2 cans here is this is going to be my PVC primer, and then I have PVC all-weather glue. So the primer, it's necessary. You put it on both sides of the pipe, and what it does is it etches the pipe and makes the surface rough so that the glue actually has something that it can adhere to. So you put primer on both sides, let it etch the pipe, and then the glue goes in, and then you just push the two together. That's a tight fit. That's what we want. So I just put the primer on both the pipe and the fitting, and then we'll follow through with using our PVC glue. And this piece I'm going to go ahead and pre-fit just so that I don't have the hassle of having to hold it together when we're actually gluing it on the wall of the outhouse. So anyways, all right, so we only have one joint left to glue, and then the vent is already all done. So let's go ahead. I'll set the camera up, and I'll have my wife hold back on the pipe on the inside of the outhouse, and then I'll go ahead and glue the last joint. All right, folks, and then I go ahead and put glue on this hub, and then here's the pipe. We just slide a little bit of glue on there, and my wife is in the inside of the cab, or the outhouse right now, holding back, and we just simply put that pipe in, and we'll eyeball this to make sure it's vertical. Line it up with this line here. I could try putting a level on it, but it's a freaking outhouse in the outback, so who really cares? But there you go. We got the vent on, and I'll just hold this for a second and let it dry. And once it dries, everything will be locked into place. There's no supports needed, and we're all done. Simple venting system for an outhouse. Pretty easy project. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. Venting system is done. That's another project done here at the cabin. If you guys have any experience at all with outhouses and you know, venting and stuff like that, feel free to leave some comments in the comment section. You know, I'm just a rookie at this. So we got a lot of work done this week. The lake is all cleaned out and fish habitat is made. We got the outhouse taken care of, and cabin's looking good. In the meanwhile, we are sweating our buns off, so we are going to take a trip down to a little lake that we like to take a dip in. Thank you so much for your support. We'll catch you next week on Carl's Off the Grid.